भाई लैंड करा दे बस भाई मेरे, मैं जो इसमें आया हूँ।
अरे पाँव करो ऊपर, क्या बोला मैं?
अरे यार मुझको बस लैंड करा दे भाई।
You remember that meme a few years ago of that kid saying, "मैं पागल हूँ, हाँ मैं Sometimes I genuinely feel like this when stepping into the theatre for a film that I know is going to be a train wreck. On the day of the India vs Pakistan game, I thought during the first innings I should catch up on the Hindi movie release of the weekend, something that I could not catch up on due to being busy with some family wedding festivities. Yes, I know it's already absolutely crazy that I would leave the India vs Pakistan game for a Pooja Films project, but hey, you've got to be sincere irrespective. You have to cover all kinds of movies. Anyway, I knew that India was sorted and will win. I went to watch the Muddassar Aziz directed film Mere Husband Ki Biwi starring Arjun Kapoor, Bhumi Pednekar and Rakulpreet Singh. A movie that has been devoured by the Chhava wave. While one movie is slated to reach the 500 crore club, this movie is taking turtle steps to have a respectable single-digit lifetime run at the box office. Isn't it crazy that Chhava was going to release on the same weekend as Pushpa? Thank God they opted to postpone its release, otherwise this hysteria would have been masked by someone else. You see how I'm trying to avoid talking about the film actually and make this video about everything else? Trust me, I'm doing you a favor. और बताओ क्या चल रहा है? I apologize. Mere Husband Ki Biwi focuses on Ankur Chadda played by Arjun Kapoor, who is a real estate broker in Delhi. The man has just gone through a divorce with Prableen Dhillon played by Bhumi Pednekar, and it is assumed that they really had a toxic relationship. Even though Ankur is going through PTSD of how the relationship transpired, his paths cross with Antara Khanna played by Rakulpreet Singh, the college heartthrob with whom Ankur always assumed he had no chance. The film goes in absolutely matlab kuch bhi mode when Bhumi gets into an accident and loses all memory of her going through any problems, fights or even a divorce with Ankur, assuming that he has just proposed and they are scheduled to get married soon. How this medical situation of amnesia comes in direct conflict with his current relationship with Antara forms the basic premise of this comedy of errors that essentially becomes a bootleg Saajan Chale Sasural and BB number 1. The film presumably made on a 60 crore budget, with the latter half of the film for no reason whatsoever transporting us to Scotland, makes me genuinely wonder about the business strategy of a company like Pooja Films, and how the hell are they even managing this film production company. I understand that the film production for this company is merely a side hustle, but my god, is it a terrible track record if you have to look back at your last hit and it's more than 20 years ago. Every time Ankur thinks about Prableen, she takes the form of a ghost wanting to haunt him, like a figure like Manjulika appearing with unkept hair, shouting and screaming at the top of her lungs, also extending her arms like Reed Richards, only to choke out Ankur. As the film progressed and ended too, I really thought that this could have been a better twist for the film. An ex-wife's ghost that haunts Arjun Kapoor versus this absurd amnesia angle that gave me a mild aneurysm. The funny part about this film is that Ankur, played by Arjun Kapoor, is like every other Delhi boy, running his father's business and most of the time spending his day drinking with his best friend. There is nothing particularly charming or attractive about his character, but to see the women of this film absolutely go head over heels for him was one of the toughest things to expect. I mean, even his domestic help Sushma doesn't spare him, hitting on him with her first appearance in the film. The only silver lining in the film is Harsh Gujral playing the role of Ankur's best friend Rehan, who tries to put some sense in his best friend who is always trigger happy to get married. He plays an extension of his stand-up specials, much like Bassi was roped in for Tu Jhooti Main Makkar. The irritation of the film to represent an authentic Delhi portrayal also continues, with wide shots of India Gate, Red Fort and CP, just to ensure to us that this is shot in Delhi, and references of Punjabi Bagh and Lajpat Nagar for that added spunk of authenticity. I don't know when this became normalized, but the objectification of Russians and their purpose to be mere strippers and escorts in India is slightly sickening to me also, on how it's merely used as a gag across the board on social media too. In a sequence where Harsh tries to loosen up Arjun, he takes him to a bachelor party with Russians, where he finds even his father Shakti Kapoor dancing with strippers. He exclaims, "Russian se tere dil mein maram dalunga." It obviously doesn't go as planned, and our sulking Ankur continues on this trauma-filled journey. Nothing is more random than the way the movie introduces characters. Antara is playing a physio in this film who swings between Delhi and London and part-time teaches hand gliding in Rishikesh. How does she make her entry? Well, by hand gliding on the property that Arjun is selling to a client. It's absolutely hilarious and random. Arjun quotes Antara by being enthusiastic about adventure sports and the romance blossoms. Other than Rakulpreet Singh looking absolutely beautiful, there isn't even an iota of emotion that gets developed within you. Of giddiness with the romance or emotion with their origin stories, you just feel nothing. The movie convinces us that Arjun, Bhumi and Rakul are college-going students in a flashback, but everyone looks like they are in their mid-30s, even in these sequences. It also made me wonder that this film is another extension of Punjabi tropes. How do you portray a Punjabi girl? Give her some tennu mennu lines and ensure that she has alcohol. That truly represents a Pataka Punjabi girl. The problem with this film is that it somewhere has some interesting ideas, like the flamboyant nature in which Arjun proposes to Prableen in an ode to the iconic dhol sequence in Mohabbatein. But it is executed in such a lackluster fashion that you don't even see it as endearing or fun. Most of the gags are handed over to Harsh Gujral and he does a fairly decent job, besides the potty jokes handed to him, which seems to be a staple for most Hindi films. When nothing works, resort to potty. The only interesting part of the film, and the movie could have been far more compelling if they actually focused on just this subplot, is the problems that Arjun and Bhumi deal with in their marriage. What essentially leads to their divorce could have been its own movie and actually grounded in reality. But with the amnesia twist, the makers ऐसा रायता फैलाते हैं ना that it just loses the zing or entertainment required for any film. The film becomes an absolute slog in the second half as the two women just battle it out for the attention of Arjun Kapoor. This obsessive catfight between the women for Arjun Kapoor just seemed implausible from all angles to me. Arjun has a very poker-faced approach in this movie. In moments where he had to showcase an emotional range, it's stiff and stale. In a moment where there is an angry confrontation, it's flat rather than impactful. It really did showcase a lack of acting range, especially in a genre that demands for you to be expressive. Arjun almost has stock responses that makes the performance odd because it seems like he is not actively listening to the character he shares the screen with, but just remembering his lines and doing his part. Bhumi is over the top, loud and ineffective for the most part, only being slightly convincing in moments of vulnerability. Rakul looks amazing, but this role does nothing for her from an acting standpoint. When the film does transport us to Scotland, it gets on your nerves and is extremely irritating. It makes a mockery out of the sensitive medical state Bhumi is in. It goes through long comedy gags just to ensure that Ankur and Antara have roadblocks in their marriage. It has abrupt cuts to music and dance, so you don't really know what the film wants to be. Does it want to be an understanding of toxic relationships? Does it want to be a flippant comedy film where two girls fight for a man? It's this wannabe rom-com khichdi that just makes you think about the 2 hours and 30 minutes you have wasted, and furthermore the time you invested in writing this review. You've got random characters like Dino Moria and Aditya Seal that just come as they please, and the film pretending to be, well, just another version of Pati Patni Aur Wo and nothing more. The film tries to have its own Kal Ho Na Ho and Jaane Tu Ya Jaane Na moments as well. For those who have seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it's an absolute slog of a movie because it's a mere imitation versus having its own identity. In the entire pursuit of these women obsessing over Arjun Kapoor, Harsh asks Arjun for a second कि कोई शिलाजीत की जड़ी बूटी है क्या तेरे पास? Honestly, if that were true, it would make way more sense from a plot point of view than whatever this movie was. And that was a video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about Mere Husband Ki Biwi. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle is right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.